Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. Today will be a leg workout, and as you all know, legs are very important nowadays in classic physique, so I need to bring them up to par with the upper body. So that's why we're going to start with the leg curl. This is a hamstring exercise, and we're going to combine it with a leg extension. So two isolation exercises to really pump up those legs as a good pre-exhaustion exercise to begin the entire leg workout with. So let's begin with the leg curls. This will be an interesting leg workout indeed, and this was actually on January 18th that this was recorded, which is around 42 days out of the Arnold Classic. And I will be posting a lot more videos back to back because I still have a lot of material, but I've been quite busy with finishing off some university stuff. But that is mostly done now, so I have more time for Vintage Genetics. But anyway, as you just saw, I did the laying leg curl, in my opinion the best isolation movement for the hamstrings. And I start out with that one because the hamstrings are the weakest point of my entire body. So of course you want to prioritize that in the workout by starting out with it. And then we superset that with leg extensions. Just like you would superset the triceps and the biceps together, we now superset the hamstrings and the quads together. You can basically see the hamstrings as the biceps of your legs and the quads as the triceps of your legs. So this way, every time that you do a leg curl, as you can see right here, you have to think about the quads at the same time, because right now, every time I'm curling this weight upwards, the quad is stretching. So when the hamstring is contracting to the max, the quad is stretching to the max in this specific movement. And the same is true for the leg extensions. Right here, when the leg is all the way upwards, extended, then the hamstring is fully stretched. And this will cause more blood to rush through those muscle fibers in the legs, getting a much better pump. And you can use this pump as a great warm-up for the heavier compounds that we're going to do. What I always say is that full range of motion is very important on both of these exercises, especially on this leg curl. You want to go all the way down, stretch those hamstring fibers out, and then go all the way up, recontracting it without really activating the lower back as much. And here you can see doing the leg extensions, I go upward as high as I can, kind of like Tom Platz used to do, but without as much force behind it, because this is the most knee sensitive exercise there is. So if you have sensitive knees, I wouldn't recommend going with such explosive force on the leg extensions, but going a little lighter with a little more reps or skipping it altogether. The moment you feel pain during an exercise, you should really skip that exercise and work around the pain, because if you feel pain, that means your body is telling you to do something different, because right now it still needs to recover and repair that area. Also on the leg extension, I see a lot of people not going down all the way, and this prevents a full stretch of the quads, which is what you do want during this exercise. And this is the final set of the leg curls, really going to failure here. And you always have a little bit of momentum or muscle assistance from other muscles. If you look closely, you can see the lower back and the glutes helping a little bit, but basically those are my spotters during the last few reps of this movement to get some forced reps in and get some more blood in the hamstrings muscles themselves. Alright, now that we did the superset first, to warm the legs, get some blood in there, it's time for the next exercise, which is the Smith machine squats. Now a lot of people think only squats with a free weight are the way to go, but as most of you guys probably know, Dorian Yates was a 6-time Olympia, and she never did free weight squats for his reasons, or because he didn't feel the legs as well. I'm quite tall, so to be able to really go down all the way, you need to have something to assist you when you're, below parallel. And the only way to really do that is either with an elevated heel or in a Smith machine. But also a reason for doing the Smith machine now is because with free weights you need a partner during the last few sets. Because I'm alone right now, I'm first going to pre-exhaust my legs with the Smith machine, so I don't have to go as heavy on the squats before going to failure. So let's begin with the first set. So yes, as I mentioned, when you're doing contest prep or during a deep cut, there is simply more risk of injury if you want to do heavy squats. The problem is I can go really heavy on the squats and then the only thing that I feel is being tired in general without actually feeling the fatigue in the muscles of the legs. This is something that I've learned. I've always thought to do very heavy squats for muscle growth. Of course, that does work, but for me, since I'm quite tall, I need to go down quite deep. The range of motion is large, is long, is great, and it takes a lot of effort from my entire body, stamina-wise, to recover from the last set. And what I want to feel, as I'm a bodybuilder, I want to feel the muscle that I'm working instead of just being tired from the last heavy set. So in order to do that, I first want to do another compound movement before the back squat, such as a Smith machine squat. Sometimes I like to do it with a leg press, but with this Smith machine squat, I can really hit those quads specifically without the back really bending over. As you can see, the back is staying really straight, and these are very narrow squats targeting the outer sweep of the quads, which can always be bigger, of course, because the bigger the sweep, the smaller the waist will look. But anyway, I'm doing this to get a good pump in the legs, and then when you have a great pump, it will be easier to feel actually the mind-muscle connection in the muscle, feeling them fatigue while doing the back squats, which is a challenge a lot of people have. So if you feel the same way, try going all out on a leg press or a Smith machine squat and then do the back squats just to see what the difference is. It's not all about the weight, it really is all about feeling the muscle, because right now I'm putting my feet forward more, really creating a lot more tension on the quads, really making sure that all that weight is on the quads and not the rest of the body. All right, the next exercise is the old school back squats with a free weight barbell. Of course, in my opinion, it cannot be missing from a true leg workout, especially if you want to build mass. When now I'm preserving leg mass by doing the squat, really focusing on getting an overload of the muscles without the extra weight, without the risk of injury for the lower back, etc. Right now I did the Smith machine actually, and I told you guys that I first want to do the Smith machine and then the free weight squats, because the Smith machine will already tire you out in a safe way and you're still able to overload that muscle, because the actual weight you use is unknown to the muscle fiber itself. So it will feel like it's being overloaded if you go to failure, or pretty much close to failure, with a lighter weight if it is pre-exhausted. So let's go with the barbell squats. So now it is indeed time for the barbell squats, or the regular back squats. Under my heels I have placed a plate that's pretty thick, so I can go down a little deeper. However, here my stance isn't as narrow as a Smith machine one, because I want to hit the legs from a slightly different angle, and because the movement is pretty much the same. And you can see that the plate below my heels is really helping me stay upright more. As I mentioned, the taller you are, the longer your legs, the more difficult it is for your back to actually stay straight throughout the entire range of motion. But what I feel right now, when I go downwards, I can feel the stretch in the quads, I can feel the muscles working, and I'm not tired overall. If I keep going, the thing that stops me from going up is literally fatigue in the muscle itself, instead of simply being tired overall. Because if you are very tired overall, if it's really a heavy load on your stamina, that's actually more of a risk to drop the bar or get disbalanced or not being able to finish the reps because you're tired, instead of actually feeling fatigued in the legs, which you can really, analyze yourself, because you're experienced with doing all these movements. You know how many reps you can hit with those muscles, instead of guessing how many reps you can hit with your stamina, because we are bodybuilders and that's what you can do. So you want to go down at least 90 degrees, but a little deeper, as I'm going right here, is the best to stretch out the quads. And the deeper you go, the more you can actually hit the hamstrings and the glutes, which is why I have included this plate, because the hamstrings and the glutes is what I really want to work on a little more than the quads, because that is my greatest weak point. Basically the thickness from the back. From the side it has improved quite a lot, but from the back I need more detail, more definition and more thickness for sure.
Right, the next and final exercise for the quads specifically will be the Sissy Squat. It's actually an ironic name because the Sissy Squat is called a Sissy Squat, but at the same time it really is, it feels really difficult on the quads. Really a lactic acid buildup, really good stretch, especially having done a couple of exercises. So let's do a couple of sets of the Sissy Squats and then end it with another exercise after that. So let's go. And there's no extra weight needed at all, just your body weight.
Now that we have created a very nice pump, first with the supersets, then the 2 compound movements using quite high volume, well, at least 10 to 12 or sometimes 15 reps. You get a nice pump in the legs, and then you can really use a good stretch in them to really get an even more hypertrophy effect. And these are Sissy Squats, which you can really use to get a maximum stretch in those quads. It's an exercise basically inspired by Tom Platz. He used to do these. You have also Sissy Squat machines. He also does this exercise in a hack squat. I used to do those as well, called the duck stance hack squats. But this really enhances the stretch in the quads, as you can see, without really targeting the knees too much if you do it the right way. And then to end off this workout for the legs at least, because after this we do some calves, we finish it off with some unilateral leg curls. I like to do this unilaterally because it basically eliminates all the momentum from the upper body, because you don't have to go as heavy to really get into that muscle, and then you can use your other leg to do some forced reps at the end, as you just saw right here. And I'm about to do that again. But you shouldn't think that if you can do 40 kilograms with both legs that you can do 20 kilograms with one leg, because one leg is more than twice as weak as both legs combined, because as I said, all the momentum is pretty much gone, so the muscle itself has to work.
Alright, as we just saw, we just did the unilateral leg curls just with one leg at a time to really finish them off. Especially after having done the Sissy Squats, pumping up the quads, you want to do actually an exercise that works the opposite muscle to stretch out the quads once more and to contract the hamstrings to finish those off, because especially those are my weak point in terms of leg development. So doing the quads and hamstrings together fills up the leg and brings more growth to it. And then the final exercise is for the calves, because you can never forget the calves and it can never be big enough. So let's do the seated calf raise.
In my opinion, the seated calf raise is one of the more superior calf exercises, especially when doing it with one leg. As you can see right here, I can really focus on the stretch and contraction of one calf. A lot of people tell me that they don't have great developed calves, but at the same time, they cannot really get their mind into the calves, really feel the calves contracting, feel them stretching, because they always use both legs during calf raises or calf presses. Try doing it with only one leg and really focus on contracting those calves, because the better the focus is, the better you will able to make that specific muscle grow. Otherwise, you're just moving from point A to point B without putting all the emphasis into creating quality muscles. And if you cannot really focus on a muscle, you don't know whether you're using momentum, whether you're cheating, because if you don't use momentum here, you cannot really go that heavy with only one calf. A lot of people go super heavy, and then I look at their calves and I say, where are they? Where are those monstrous calves belonging to being able to lift that weight? They're not there, because every time they perform it, they use momentum or half of range of motion. The calves are already used to that and they don't care, they don't want to grow. So take that under advisement. Anyway, this was the video. I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.